Well, you may know I fly a lot. I mean, several days a week most of the time. And airline passengers already have to deal with long check-ins, shrinking legroom, and fellow passengers going nuts when their liquor service is cut off. But European passengers traveling by Transavia Air had quite a different challenge. As they took off from the Netherlands and headed to a Spanish island vacation, passengers became overwhelmed by, and I quote, the unbearable smell of an unwashed man, unquote. Now, while I would have suspended or maybe suspected that someone snuck on a European Union-size helping of Limburger cheese, this, my friends, was far worse. In fact, the smell was so bad that passengers were fainting and vomiting. The flight attendants tried to quarantine the very smelly passenger in a toilet, but the one-man gas attack continued so intensely, the pilots had to divert the flight to Portugal. For the record, I am not that passenger. When this story broke, I was on board a domestic Delta flight, but only a couple of passengers became nauseous because of my presence. Unfortunately for Transavia Air, this wasn't their first in-air smell incident. Earlier this year, a plane made emergency landing when passengers began fighting because of one man's excessive flatulence. I'm not making this up. That's right, from the smell of bad cheese this week to cutting the cheese in February, Transavia has become an olfactory of horrors for passengers' noses. It's got to be a bargain airline, but it sounds more like a flying hazmat site. Passengers are wondering what's wrong with this airline and its passengers. Well, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Well, after Roseanne Barr's low-blow racist tweet to President Obama's advisor, Valerie Jarrett, the wheels of Hollywood and liberal media quickly turned to crush Roseanne and her hit show on ABC. But there was something amiss in the whole media lynching of her. Could it be a possible double standard in the entertainment industry? Well, let's see. ESPN, a member of the Disney ABC family, just hired Keith Olbermann this past week. Now, Keith has said that our president is a Nazi on multiple occasions in the past. I wonder if that's part of ESPN's HR questionnaire. Also, MSNBC's Joy Reid, she was selected to be the ringmaster by MSNBC for their town hall trial of Roseanne. Now, Joy Reid has made some numerous homophobic comments that she claims she didn't remember. I guess she must have taken Ambien as well. And then she posted a picture portraying John McCain as the Virginia Tech shooter. And late night host Samantha Bee of TBS, and I want to make sure you know TBS, not TBN. That's the good channel. She called White House senior advisor and first daughter Ivanka Trump a name that is so vulgar that the happily vulgar CNN host, who usually relish in repeating public profanity, wouldn't even utter it. Now, Ms. B did apologize, stating, quote, "I'd like to sincerely apologize to Ivanka Trump and to my viewers for using an expletive on my show to describe her last night," end quote. But her show was scripted and pre-recorded, so it wasn't like some accidental slip of the tongue. So here's the question. Should people like Roseanne, Keith Olbermann, Joy Reid, and Samantha Bee have the opportunity to apologize and reform before losing their jobs? Well, it looks like that's what happens if you're on the left. But I have a surefire way to avoid such controversies altogether. Don't use profanity and vulgar words in your private conversation, and you won't likely blurt them out in your public conversations. It's pretty simple. And if you do say them, go on TV and eat some Tide Pods so the whole world can see you get your mouth washed out with soap like our mothers used to do to us when we were little. And now, a little good news. This week, President Donald Trump signed the Right to Try Act in order to help terminally ill patients access drug treatments that are yet to be fully approved by the Food and Drug Administration. The president was surrounded by patients and families at the signing ceremony who will be affected by the legislation. And the one thing he wanted to know, why this action had never been taken before. The president believes hundreds of thousands could be saved as a result of the legislation. There was a young 12-year-old who suffers from muscular dystrophy. His name is Jordan McLean. He gave President Trump a big hug after the signing, and he told Inside Edition that the president said he was envious of Jordan's handsome hair. The president stated, "If I had that head of hair, I'd been president 10 years ago." By the way, I'm pretty sure that I would have won in 2008 or 2016 with Jordan's hair as well. There you go. Well, we read the news so you don't have to. That's it for In Case You Missed It. And we leave you with the wise words of the late Senator Pat Moynihan. Everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but not to his own facts. Thank you very much for joining us for In Case You Missed It.